Welcome to Compact Warfare from compactwarfare.com, the show where we explore key moments from the history of conflict, from ancient battlefields to modern warfare. This is episode 37, Spartan Warfare. Spartan warfare was one of the most formidable and disciplined military systems in the ancient world. Known for their unmatched bravery, relentless training, and austere lifestyle, the Spartans built a society that revolved entirely around war. From a young age, Spartan males were molded into soldiers through a state-run education and training system designed to produce elite warriors. Their military prowess left a lasting legacy and has made Sparta synonymous with martial excellence even today. The foundation of Spartan military supremacy was the agoge, a rigorous training program that all male citizens entered at the age of 7. Removed from their families, boys were placed into groups and subjected to physical hardship, discipline, and constant competition. They were taught survival skills, stealth, combat techniques, and obedience to authority. Reading and writing were given far less emphasis compared to developing endurance and courage. The goal was not intellectual achievement, but the creation of fearless and efficient soldiers. As they progressed, boys were encouraged to steal food to survive, but were punished if caught, not for the theft itself, but for failing to be stealthy. This paradoxical lesson reinforced both cunning and discretion. The agoge instilled a sense of fraternity and loyalty among the boys, forging bonds that would carry into battle. The system also taught them the importance of hierarchy and unity, values that underpinned every aspect of Spartan life. The hoplite was the core of the Spartan army. These heavily armoured infantrymen carried a large circular shield known as a hoplon, a spear for thrusting, and a short sword for close combat. Spartan hoplites wore bronze helmets and breastplates, which, while heavy, provided vital protection in battle. They fought in the Phalanx formation, a tight, rectangular unit where each man's shield protected not only himself, but also the soldier to his left. Success depended on cohesion, discipline, and the ability to move as a single unit. In the Phalanx, Spartans advanced in lockstep, presenting an impenetrable wall of shields and spears. It was a formation that relied on trust, training, and unflinching discipline. A single weakness or moment of hesitation could break the line and doom the unit. Spartans were trained to hold formation under immense pressure, to advance regardless of fear, and never to retreat. Their reputation as an unbreakable military force was built upon the strength of this system. Weapons were meticulously maintained, and drills were repeated until movements became instinctive. Officers, often selected from the most experienced veterans, reinforced discipline and ensured that soldiers remained in peak condition. Music, particularly the aulos, a double-reeded instrument, was sometimes used to maintain marching rhythm during battle, helping units stay cohesive even in the chaos of combat. The entire Spartan social system was geared towards military readiness. Full citizens, known as Spartiates, were expected to dedicate their lives to warfare and were forbidden from engaging in manual labor or trade. A larger population of non-citizen workers supported their needs: the perioikoi, who were free but lacked political rights, and the helots, an enslaved population who farmed the land and provided the economic base for Spartan society. Helots were crucial to Spartan warfare, as their labor allowed Spartiate males to train and fight without concern for economic survival. However, their presence also created internal instability. Helots vastly outnumbered their Spartan overlords, and the constant fear of rebellion was a significant concern. To maintain control, Spartans used terror, including the practice of the krypteia, a secret police force of young warriors who assassinated potential helot leaders. This climate of fear reinforced the militarization of Spartan life. Military priorities also influenced marriage in Sparta. Men were encouraged to marry in their 20s, but they continued to live in barracks until the age of 30. Romantic affection was discouraged, and relationships were expected to serve the state's reproductive needs. Women, while not soldiers, were trained in physical fitness to ensure they bore strong children. They were also granted an unusual degree of freedom and influence in Spartan society compared to other Greek city-states. Spartan warfare is best remembered through the lens of its most famous battles. The Battle of Thermopylae in 480 BCE during the Persian Wars is perhaps the most iconic. Led by King Leonidas, a small Spartan force held a narrow pass against the vast Persian army of Xerxes I. Although ultimately overwhelmed, their courageous stand became a symbol of heroism and sacrifice, immortalized in both ancient and modern accounts. Sparta also played a leading role in the Peloponnesian War, a prolonged conflict against Athens and its allies. This war, which lasted from 431 to 404 BCE, tested Spartan endurance and strategy. While not always victorious in open battle, Sparta's military discipline and alliance building eventually led to Athens' defeat. The war marked the height of Spartan power in the Greek world. Later, Sparta intervened in conflicts across the Peloponnese and beyond. However, their rigid tactics, while powerful, lacked flexibility in a changing world. Enemies adapted, and new methods of warfare began to challenge the effectiveness of the Phalanx. Still, their reputation often served as a deterrent, and the mere presence of Spartan troops on a battlefield could be enough to demoralize opponents. Spartan training extended beyond the agoge. Even adult warriors continued to live in military barracks and eat communally until the age of 30. This fostered a strong bond among soldiers and emphasized loyalty to the state over the individual. Spartan discipline was legendary. Soldiers were taught to endure pain, hunger, and hardship without complaint. Cowardice or failure in battle was considered the ultimate disgrace. The Spartan ideology glorified death in service to the state. Mothers were said to tell their sons to return from battle with their shield or on it, a stark reminder that survival was honorable only if achieved through victory. Spartans viewed war as the highest calling, and their culture reinforced this belief at every level. The values of courage, sacrifice, and discipline were drilled into every citizen from youth to old age. Festivals and religious observances were carefully scheduled around military duties, and even cultural activities, such as poetry and music, had martial undertones. Songs told of great deeds in battle and inspired pride in Spartan ancestry. Citizens were constantly reminded of their duty to uphold the legacy of their forebears. Despite their military focus, Sparta was not invincible. Their rigid society lacked adaptability, and their population of Spartiates steadily declined due to low birth rates and strict citizenship requirements. Over time, this demographic problem reduced the number of elite warriors available for battle. Sparta also lagged behind in naval warfare and economic development, making it increasingly reliant on alliances and mercenaries. The decisive blow came at the Battle of Leuctra in 371 BCE, where the Thebans under Epaminondas defeated the Spartan army using innovative tactics. This loss shattered the myth of Spartan invincibility and marked the beginning of a steep decline. Though Sparta remained influential for some time, it never regained its former dominance. Later attempts at reform, including those by King Cleomenes III, sought to revitalize Spartan society by expanding citizenship and redistributing land. However, these efforts were largely unsuccessful. The world around Sparta had changed, and the rigid structures that once ensured military dominance now served to isolate and weaken them. The legacy of Spartan warfare endures in both historical scholarship and popular imagination. Spartans are often portrayed as the epitome of discipline, courage, and sacrifice. Their military system, while harsh and inflexible, has fascinated generations. Modern military academies study Spartan tactics, and their stories continue to inspire literature, film, and philosophy. Sparta's rise and fall offer essential lessons about the balance between military power and societal flexibility. Their success was built on unity, discipline, and relentless training, but their downfall reflected the dangers of social rigidity and over-reliance on a warrior elite. The history of Spartan warfare remains a compelling chapter in the story of ancient Greece and a lasting symbol of martial strength. I hope you enjoyed that episode of Compact Warfare from compactwarfare.com. If you did, please leave a review wherever you get your podcasts. And while you're there, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.